Square footage used to be a status symbol in society. The more square footage you had was a symbol or a sign that you have made success. You've made a successful life for yourself. You got a 2,000, 2,500 square foot house, you're successful. But what society has come to realize is the more square footage equals the more stress. The more square footage you have, the more furniture you have to buy, the more square footage you have to clean, the more square footage you have to heat and cool, the higher your electrical bill, the more components that can go bad, the more maintenance people you're going to have to call, the more rooms you have, the more cable boxes you're going to have to add, the more outside lawn you have, the bigger lawnmower you have to have, you're going to get a weed whacker, you're going to have higher property taxes if you have more square footage. You have all these extra stresses, and you have a less quality of life. More square footage didn't equal more happiness, it equaled more stress. In my opinion, in my personal life experience, 99% of people that I personally know that got more square footage just got more stress. They got all these different rooms, but they only use a very small percentage of that square footage. They had one baby, and they decide, let's get a 4-bedroom house instead of a 2-bedroom house, because we may have another baby, then I want my in-laws to stay, then we may have get-togethers, blah, blah, blah. But then, even if their in-laws do come, they come maybe once a year and the other spouse doesn't want them there. There's unhealthy boundaries. There's contention in the air. And the amount of time your parents or in-laws or anyone stayed with you, it would have been cheaper and wiser and a better quality of life if you just would have got them a hotel room. Or if you just would have made it a fun experience and maybe, got them a cot or even bought them a full mattress that you keep stored somewhere and let them sleep in the living room. But instead, you got sold the American dream. And you know who's selling you the American dream? Real estate developers and bankers. People that say, if it's a low interest rate, buy more because you can afford more. And that's the same reason 10 years ago we had a financial meltdown. Because people bought more square footage than they needed, and it equaled more stress, and it almost equaled the downfall of the financial system. Because in many aspects, the only way capitalism works is if you have such a heavy financial burden on you, you can't stop working. You're on a wheel. You're on a capitalism wheel. And there's nothing wrong with capitalism, because capitalism is a lot better, at least in America, than a lot of other societies. But there needs to be some things adjusted, so it isn't just an ism, it's a society, a healthy society. And so I'm not getting into a capitalism speech, but what I'm saying is the way it works is that you have to have just enough debt to keep you working the rest of your life, but not enough to crush you. And people were taking on so much debt, they just started to teeter over the line of too much, and it crushed them. But now everything's all right against the stock market's been up for 9 years. Go back to buying however much you want. Real estate market's booming. So we got some more regulations now. You can afford this much. They won't push you all the way over the edge because they learn a lesson, but they'll give you enough square footage that'll keep you not only financially strapped. Here's the key. This is what my video is about. Mentally strapped. Mentally burdened. You're going to need a cleaning lady now. And if you don't have a cleaning lady, you're going to resent your husband every time he doesn't even offer to clean. And if you're a husband cleaning, you're going to resent your spouse for not cleaning. It's not about a man versus woman thing either. It's about there's too much stuff, and there's too much stuff to take care of, and there's too much stress involved. So now, what happens is when people are unhappy with their life, they turn to the people closest to them in their life, and they blame them for everything. I didn't want this house, you made me buy it. That's what happens. That's what happens. I've seen it. Not all the time, there's exceptions, and if this doesn't apply to you, keep it moving. But for me, I'm sharing my personal life experience based on my opinion. I am not bullying my perspective. I'm sharing my perspective. And in my perspective, if you want to pay more property taxes, if you want to have more square footage, not so that you can enjoy and that it can be a great experience, but that so basically you can just store more stuff. Because here's another problem with square footage. It becomes a storage bin. Your extra room, your extra 2 bedrooms, they don't become a useful tool to have more friends and family stay quality time. They become storage rooms, storage containers where you store knickknacks and stuffs that won't be used the majority of your life. And then when you get old and you have to downsize your life, or when you die, your kids will sell that stuff for wholesale, or they're just going to throw it out. Because Salvation Army don't even want that crap. The more square footage, the more stuff you're going to store. And the more stuff you store, the more inefficient you are. Inefficiency leads to mental stress because you know you got more shit than you need. You know it. You know it. And look, if that's what you want to do, do you. But I'm sharing my opinion. My perspective is not necessarily may not apply to you. I think it may. Now, also, let me humble myself a little bit. I'm not trying to make this video now to shame others and make others feel hurt, because they may. And then so I want to calm myself. I want to humble myself. I'm just passionate about this because these are things I've come to learn. So please don't be hurt if you may be in that circumstance. But by speaking on it, by shedding light on it, here's the solution: is a downsized, simplified life. A mindset of when you're shopping for a home, do not equal square footage with happiness, equal more square footage with more stress. So you better be darn sure that you need that amount of square footage before you make that purchase. Because the problem is people imagine their life the way they think it will be rather than the way it will be. And the way you think it will be is that during the holidays, during Thanksgiving, everybody will get together. We're going to sit around the table. The kids are going to be playing with each other. The dog's going to be licking at our feet. And everybody's going to want to come over. And we're going to have places for in-laws and friends and family. It's going to be great. The reality, how life really is, people don't even want to come to your house. People are planning weeks in advance on an excuse they can tell you not to come. Then, if they can't figure out a good enough excuse why they can't make it this year, they finally come. They don't want to be there. They're fighting the whole way in the car on the way to your house that they don't want to be there. Then when they get there, ding dong, oh, here, they act like they love you. They love you, but they don't want to be there. And then, once everybody gets in, then it's some wrestling match. You got all the stuff, either you catered it or you cooked it. You've been slaving over, you've been fighting with your family member. You've been trying to clean the fucking toilet bowl. So, when we guests have come, they better not see the dookie stain. You're doing all this running around. And then when they get there, you try to act like it was really like that. It was never like that. You know that. So then, everybody finally, after all this wrestling, getting all the kids, getting the dogs, getting stuff cooked, everybody sits down. For 1 hour, people sit down, they make a toast, they eat too much unhealthy food. Then, after that hour, and it was basically a BS conversation. There was maybe 5 minutes of the hour conversation that maybe helped you. The rest of it was a disaster. Then, after that hour of overindulgence, everybody... the high went and then crashed, and everybody feels like crap. Everybody's passed out on the couch. People are drinking. Now people starting to talk reckless. Now it's getting late. Now, can we help you with the dishes? No, you don't help us with the dishes. Then, just about when everybody's ready to, give up on life. Oh, we got dessert ready. So then dessert comes out, and then you bring out all this china that you never use. All this big setup. Then, after the dessert, after the show is really over, then they say, oh, we got to get home now. So then everybody leaves your house. Then... all you're left with, it's 2,000 square foot to clean and to get back in shape. And then you have to lie to yourself and you know what? That was a great time. It was a horrible time. It was horrible. But you had no other choice because you locked yourself into too much square footage and you decide you're going to be the house that entertains. Now, maybe there are some people I've met that personally love to entertain. And if that's for you, please do you. I am not bullying my way. I don't want to tell you how to live. I'm sharing my personal life experience and what I've seen and what it results in. And too much square footage equals too much stress. And those people are usually mentally unhealthy. And they have a mental cycle of a high anxiety, high stress, and unhealthy physical bodies because they need to create an entertainment capital of the world. They need to create their house as Disney World so they can suck more people in, so they can justify why they're living in this huge house with all this nice china, with all this extra furniture that they don't need, with all these extra rooms that people don't even want to stay in their house. They'd rather them give them $100 to stay at Motel 6 and watch free porn, maybe. Now, I live full-time out of my car. I am not saying that living full-time out of your car is for everybody. For the most people, it's not. But what I am saying, in my opinion, I'm saying this with confidence too, living a downsized life with less square footage is wisdom. And it will bring less anxieties, and it will allow your mind to focus on things that are more important and that keep you in a healthy, creative, productive space rather than in an unuseful, inefficient space. Because society will wake up one day, and they're starting to wake up because technology is now making us more efficient. We track now the amount of steps. Everybody kind of knows how many steps they walk now per day. Because they track them on their watch or whatever. You know how many steps you walk. Data, the collection of data makes people more efficient. And efficiency is the new luxury. Square footage is the new stress. The more square footage, the more stress. The less square footage, the more efficient you are, the less stress. When you are efficient, when you have just what you need and maybe a little bit more, you're happy, you're at peace because there is not excess financial and mental resources going to waste. When things go to waste, high anxiety pops up. Stress pops up. And then the only way to relieve that high anxiety and the high stress is unhealthy behavior. Food, Xanax, whatever. I've seen it in my personal life experience with many people. Let me tell you something. So people can say, oh, I don't believe what you're saying. Psst. Not what I see in society. Maybe you're different. I respect it. So I know I'm being a little passionate here. And again, I'm not trying to shame or hurt anybody, but I'm sharing my personal life experience. I'm sharing my opinion on what I see in society. You know what it is. I'm not gonna try to justify what I say. I always try to be fair. You guys know who I am. I'm trying to be respectful. But what I will say is the more square footage, the more stress. Living in your car may not be for you. But living a downsized life with less square footage, with only the amount of rooms you need, not the amount of rooms you'll think you need. Okay? Because 2 bedrooms, 1 bath will take care of 70% of the population. Maybe another 30% need 3 bedroom, 2 baths, but that's it. For 90% of the population, the most you should ever have is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. But that's got to be a low square footage. And builders are not building below. The majority of people only need 1,000 square foot. If you got more than 1,000 square foot house, you probably got too much waste. You got rooms that you don't use. You got furniture that you don't use. You're cleaning shit that you never use, in my opinion. Maybe 10% needs more than 1,000 square foot, but I'm telling you right now, my personal life experience, 90% of the population in America doesn't need more than 1,000 square foot. Now, they don't build houses efficiently in 1,000 square foot because builders, based on capitalism, they want to sell you more house than you need. Bankers want to finance you more house than you need. Maybe not enough to break anymore, but just enough to keep you strapped the rest of your life. Be careful. Be careful. It's not an attack on anybody or any system. It's just to be mindful, to live the healthiest, best life. Because you can go do whatever. God, share the man's passion, just something on my spirit. I want to free the captives. A lot of people are captives, and it's not by really, the most oppressive thing in many people's lives is too much square footage. To some extent. Now, I got to, you know what I'm saying. Obviously, there's some horrible things out in the world. But what I'm trying to say is, be mindful of the amount of square footage you have, because it can mentally oppress you. It can. And I see it. It leads to unhealthy behavior. So I'm shedding light in it. And I have to shed light on that. I see people destroy themselves from too much stress, and many times in America, there may be different for different people, it comes from too much square footage. Buying more house than they need has hurt them, not helped them. It is no longer a sign that they've succeeded. It's a sign that now they're stressed out of their mind and they need help. Live a downsized, simple life. In my opinion, I think less is more, and I think that's wisdom. All right? Stay inspired.